All right, for lab 7, this is aerobic conditioning this week, and it's a pretty straightforward lab, but a big part of it is doing math. So I'll talk about the math in a moment, but let's just talk about what the lab is itself. So it's broken up into 3 sessions, and ideally that means one person will do 2 sessions and then one person will do 1. I don't want one person doing all 3, and I don't want both of you doing all 3. Okay, so I just want all 3 sessions being completed by the end of the lab. So oftentimes, because one of them is light intensity and then 2 of them are harder intensities, one person will do the light intensity, and then one of the hard intensities, the second partner, will only do 1 session, but they're doing a hard intensity as well. So both people end up doing 1 hard effort, and then one of those people doubles up and they do the easy effort. That's not required, but that's how it's usually broken up in the past. Within these sessions, you're going to set up the bike just like previous labs. And for every session, you're going to have them start a warm-up for 2 minutes at 0.5 kg. You're going to increase the workload based on the math that we'll do. And you're going to check the heart rate every minute to know that you're in the right intensities. Okay, so based on the ranges that you have, which there will be 2 numbers. If their heart rate is too low, they're not in the range, then we need to up the intensity, and we would do that by bringing them up in KP. And then if the heart rate is too high and they're working harder than you want them to, you can decrease the intensity by either having them slow down or by lowering the weight. We're taking RPE every minute, and then, like I said, each one is 5 minutes. So after the 5th minute, it's done. You'll see the YMCA graph is on here that you had in lab 3. You will need that to do your math, okay? So you don't necessarily need the graph itself. I don't want this in your lab report, but I do need you to have the equation that in the example is in the top right, that y equals 0.0933x plus 56, because that's what we are using for our math. Okay, so that's what you need from the graph. The reason we're doing that is because we're using the YMCA estimations, and we're creating exercise intensity based off of that. And in your discussion questions, it directly references the YMCA bike test. So in a perfect world, you would have done the YMCA to, as good as you could have. And then you're still working with the same partner. So their numbers should correspond to their YMCA results. While on the topic, I'll talk about the discussion questions. Describe a situation when you might use each of the 3 sessions. So make sure you talk about all 3. For session 1, I would use it with this group. For session 2, I would use it with this group or this scenario. And session 3, I would use that with this group. Okay? Make sure you hit all 3. And then the second question, following completion of today's lab, do you think the YMCA test is suitable when prescribing exercise sessions, and explain your answer. So this is when it becomes important that you have that YMCA. For this question, there's really 2 routes you'll likely go down. Either yes, you think it is suitable because it made sense. The intensities that you prescribed using the YMCA got to the right heart rate zones, cool. Or it's not suitable because it didn't go well, something happened, and it was not user error, but because of the YMCA. So just explain your answer. Something along those lines is fine, but make sure that it's explained thoroughly. Going into the math. All right, so it's all on page 2 of the lab. It tells you exactly how to break down each session. There's this. If this doesn't make sense, click on the calculations, lab 7 doc. It has everything laid out again, but highlighted and made all pretty. And then if that still doesn't make sense, watch the video that I made on calculations, where I go through each session and I just use myself as an example, and then I'll break it down how to do it that way, okay? So you'll need to do math for all 3 sessions. Make sure you pay attention to whether you're using age predicted heart rate max or heart rate reserve for those, and pay attention to the desired intensities. So 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%, whatever it is. For your results section, you will not need a figure. You will just need the calculations from each session and then a table for each session showing work rate, heart rate, and RPE. So those tables are going to look really similar to the tables that are in your data sheet. So if you go to the bottom of your report, the data sheet down there, really similar to what I want you to have in your results. Just to clarify, I want it in both. So I still want your data sheet untouched, exactly how it is. And then I want the equations and the tables in the results as well. So make sure you have both. I will emphasize again, show your calculations or equations for each session. So if myself and Kennedy are working as a pair and I do the math for her session 2 and she does the math for my session 1 and session 3 that I do, I need to get the calculations that she did because I'm presenting the data as if the subject did all 3. Okay, so I need to have the calculations for all 3. So in your results section, I want to see session 1 calculations all laid out, session 2 calculations all laid out, and session 3 all laid out. I don't care which one you did, I need all 3. Same thing goes for the tables. I don't care which one you did, but I need you to have the tables for all 3 sessions, okay? Like I said, a lot of this lab is math. The actual lab itself only takes 15 to 20 minutes, really. So pay attention to the math. I'll make sure we get that done as quickly as possible. I'll go over it quickly in lab, and then there's also the video on Blackboard if it still doesn't make sense. All right.